Look around any cafe, bus, or family dinner table today, and you'll see the same scene. People physically together, but mentally somewhere else. Eyes locked on screens, scrolling through the carefully curated lives of others. Today, we're exploring one of the most profound social experiments in human history, the rise of social media and how it has fundamentally altered the way we connect, communicate, and see ourselves. For most of human history, communication was inherently local and immediate. Ancestors gathered around fires, sharing stories face to face. As civilization developed, we created tools to extend our communication, from cave paintings to handwritten letters, then printing presses, telegraphs, telephones, and radio. But each innovation still maintained some essence of our natural communication style. Letters preserved our personal handwriting. Phone calls carried our voice and emotion. Even early internet communication like email and chat rooms were primarily text-based extensions of letter writing. But social media represents something fundamentally different. Beginning with platforms like Friendster and MySpace in the early 2000s, evolving through Facebook's global dominance, and accelerating with smartphone-native apps like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, we've witnessed a profound shift. Communication has become simultaneously more public, yet more isolating, more constant, yet more shallow, more connected, yet more comparative. In just 2 decades, social media has transformed from novelty to necessity in our daily lives. The statistics are staggering. The average teen now spends nearly 5 hours daily on social media platforms. Adults aren't far behind, with most checking their accounts over 50 times per day. At the same time, we've witnessed an alarming rise in depression, anxiety, and loneliness, particularly among young people. Is this merely coincidence, or has our digital connection come at the cost of our mental well-being? In this video, we'll examine how social media has rewired our brains, reshaped our social interactions, and contributed to a growing mental health crisis. We'll also explore what we can do, individually and collectively, to foster healthier relationships with these powerful technologies. To understand social media's impact, we need to start with how it affects our brains. These platforms weren't designed merely to help us connect. They were engineered to capture and hold our attention for as long as possible. Every time we receive a notification, a like, comment, or share, our brains release dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in pleasure, motivation, and addiction. This creates a powerful feedback loop that keeps us coming back for more. Former tech executives have raised alarms about these designs. Tristan Harris, a former Google design ethicist, describes social media as hijacking our minds. Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, admitted these platforms were designed to exploit a vulnerability in human psychology. The results are clear in our behavior. According to a 2023 survey from the American Psychological Association, 45% of teens say they feel addicted to their mobile devices. Many of us experience phantom vibrations, the feeling that our phone is buzzing even when it isn't, a classic sign of dependence. This addiction doesn't just waste time, it fragments our attention, making it increasingly difficult to focus on tasks requiring deep concentration. Our brains become accustomed to constant stimulation and novelty, making the slower pace of real life feel unbearably dull. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of social media is how it transforms human connection into constant comparison. We're exposed to carefully curated highlights from hundreds or thousands of lives simultaneously. These platforms create what researchers call highlight reels, carefully selected moments that present an idealized version of life. We intellectually understand that these images are filtered and staged, yet emotionally, we can't help comparing our complete lives with all their messiness and mundanity to these perfect snapshots. This is particularly damaging for young people. A 2024 WHO study found that problematic social media use among adolescents rose from 7% in 2018 to 11% in 2022, with girls reporting higher levels than boys. These users showed lower mental well-being and higher rates of anxiety and depression. Social comparison isn't new, but social media has supercharged it in 3 key ways. First, the volume of comparison is unprecedented. Instead of measuring ourselves against a few peers, we now compare ourselves to hundreds or thousands of people. Second, the comparison is one-sided. We see others' highlights while being intimately aware of our own struggles and failures. Third, many images aren't just curated, but digitally altered, creating literally unattainable standards of beauty, success, and happiness. Closely related to comparison is FOMO, the fear of missing out. Social media provides unprecedented visibility into events we weren't invited to, trips we couldn't afford, and social gatherings happening without us. Research from Stanford University found that FOMO isn't just unpleasant. It actively contributes to anxiety and depression. When we constantly see what we're missing, our actual experiences feel inadequate by comparison. FOMO also undermines our ability to be present. We're constantly checking what else is happening, preventing us from fully engaging with the people and experiences right in front of us. This creates a painful paradox. We document experiences to share them on social media, reducing our enjoyment of the actual moment. Then we view others' shared experiences, making us feel we're missing out, despite having just had our own experience that someone else might envy. Humans evolved over millions of years to communicate face-to-face. Our brains are exquisitely tuned to interpret facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, and other nonverbal cues that convey emotion and build trust. Digital communication strips away many of these cues. A 2013 study published in Cyber Psychology found that in-person communication creates stronger emotional bonds compared to digital alternatives. Even video calls, which preserve some visual cues, don't fully replicate the neurological benefits of physical presence. The displacement of face-to-face interaction has serious consequences for social development. A 2014 study found that when 6th graders spent a few days away from screens, they showed significant improvements in recognizing nonverbal emotional cues compared to peers who maintained screen access. For younger generations who've grown up with smartphones, this creates a troubling cycle. Less practice with in-person interaction leads to underdeveloped social skills, which increases anxiety about face-to-face conversations, driving them back to the relative safety of digital communication. The connection between social media use and mental health concerns is becoming increasingly clear. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, children and adolescents who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media face double the risk of experiencing symptoms of depression and anxiety. Girls appear particularly vulnerable to these effects. Multiple studies have linked heavy social media use among teen girls to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and negative body image. Social media also disrupts sleep patterns, essential for mental health. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production, while the emotional stimulation of social media keeps our minds activated. Poor sleep quality and insufficient sleep duration are strongly linked to depression and anxiety. Perhaps most ironically, these platforms designed for connection often increase feelings of loneliness. A University of Pennsylvania study found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes per day led to significant reductions in loneliness and depression compared to a control group that maintained their usual usage. The news isn't all bleak. Awareness is growing, and we're developing strategies to maintain the benefits of social media while reducing its harms. First, we can set boundaries. Using built-in screen time tools or third-party apps helps limit consumption to healthier levels. Research suggests that keeping social media use under 30 minutes daily significantly reduces negative mental health impacts. Second, we can reduce interruptions. Turning off notifications prevents the constant dopamine-driven cycle of checking and responding, allowing us to be more present and focused. Third, we can be more intentional about who we follow. Curating feeds to include positive influences and removing accounts that trigger negative comparisons can transform the social media experience. Fourth, we can create tech-free zones and times. Many families now implement no phone rules during meals or designate device-free bedrooms to protect sleep and foster real connection. Finally, we can prioritize real-world experiences. Engaging in physical activity, spending time in nature, and connecting face-to-face are all strongly linked to improved mental health and well-being. Social media isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool whose impact depends on how we use it. These platforms have brought remarkable benefits, connecting distant loved ones, giving voice to marginalized communities, and creating supportive spaces for those who feel isolated in their physical communities. The challenge is learning to use these tools mindfully rather than letting them use us. We need to recognize when social media enhances our lives and when it detracts from them. On a societal level, we need more research, education, and perhaps regulation to protect vulnerable users, particularly young people whose brains are still developing. But individually, we can start making healthier choices today. By understanding social media's impact on our brains, relationships, and mental health, we can begin to forge a healthier relationship with these powerful technologies, one that enhances our connections without compromising our well-being. The most meaningful connections will always be those that engage us fully, mind, body, and spirit. By being more intentional about our digital habits, we can ensure that technology serves human connection rather than replacing it. If you found this exploration valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insights into the forces shaping our mental health and relationships in the digital age. Together, we can create a healthier digital future.